Welcome to the Trend Detection Podcast powered by Siemens. And now, your host, Niall Sullivan.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Trend Detection Podcast. I'm really pleased to have my colleague Taku on the podcast today. First time on the podcast, hopefully not the last, as I always say. Today, we're coming back to sort of a regular series we've been doing over the past, I'm going to say past 6 months to a year. And it's about readiness for predictive maintenance because it's a very important topic, both from a culture and sort of technology and data perspective. But it becomes even more fascinating when we look at it from a regional perspective as well, because there's so many nuances that that affect things. And I mean, so far we've done episodes in the Danish market, in the UK market, and a few others as well. And it really is amazing how they sort of differ, between regions and between countries, and the cultural differences as well, particularly, is something we focus on a lot. But enough about that for the minute. We'll dive into the topic in a sec, but I'll just hand over briefly to Taku just to introduce yourself. So over to you, Taku.
Thank you very much, Niall. I'm Taku, everybody. Are very pleased to meet you. I'm in charge of the Senseye business development in Asia Pacific and also Middle Eastern region. But I'm originally from Japan, so that's why hopefully today I can give some situation of the manufacturing condition in Japan. Thank you very much.
No, I'm really happy to have you on as well. I can't remember if I mentioned that in the intro, actually. I should have done. We are talking about the Japanese market today, something, clearly that Taku knows very well. So let's dive straight in, I guess. And why don't we start by looking at the current trends in terms of predictive maintenance adoption in the Japanese market? What's that looking like? Because I've got sort of a broader look at it, and I've seen the market develop over the past 3 years. I've been involved with Senseye, now Siemens. But what would you say specific to the Japanese market? Where are they on their adoption of predictive maintenance?
Okay. Because Japanese manufacturing industry is relatively matured comparing with the global standard. That's why also the people who are engaged in those market are also seeking some new technology or innovation in the maintenance field. And then that's why predictive maintenance itself as a word is not new for Japanese market. And then what I have heard, the predictive maintenance in the manufacturing industry in Japan is more than 20 years ago, which means the word itself is widely spread in the market. But at this point of time, still, I don't see many manufacturers who successfully implemented the predictive maintenance situation, because I would say, first of all, the challenge for them is the scalability, because of the predictive maintenance or even condition-based maintenance solutions. Typical characteristic is, for example, bearing or gearbox. But there are many different kinds of the asset that manufacturer want to monitor in one plant. That's why not only the bearings, but also there are many different, the asset they want to monitor. That's why this is one of the challenge or struggling point why the predictive maintenance in Japan has not been spread.
That's really interesting. It's a good way to because there's a few things to sort of pick out of that. So I guess first of all, because you said sort of the Japanese market sort of very advanced. I think most people we all know how sort of advanced sort of technology wise Japanese companies generally are. But is there a culture in terms of happy to sort of look at new tech and look at the next advancement in tech? And obviously we're talking about industrial technology here at the moment. Is there sort of a real willingness for Japanese companies to really sort of test new innovations in the market?
Yes, the answer is yes and no, because there are also, typical characteristic or let's say the features of the Japanese company, especially in the manufacturing industry, is bottom up. For example, their production facilities operator or maintenance engineers who are engaged in their daily business, they are educated to improve from the bottom, from their shop floor. And then that's why, they are seeking the new technology, as I said, every day. But on the other hand, if the kind of innovations or new technologies or new system solutions are relatively bigger system than for example, one maintenance team or one production team, then they need always the permission from the top management. This is the difficulty. That's why if that solution or the system they want to implement is relatively smaller, I mean they are small size and then easy to implement and then can implement in a shorter time, and then they can do it. But if the system is bigger, and then unfortunately it doesn't come true.
And I guess that links into what you were saying before, because you said there was issues in terms of why, like I said, it's a contrary thing where, very open to new technologies, but often it doesn't get implemented. And I guess it's down to those factors that you just mentioned there, that around scalability and the need for sort of buy-in from the top. Is there how can people approach sort of trying to overcome those challenges in terms of getting buy-in from the people they need to?
Yeah. So recently in Japan, there are, for example, IT department or digital transformation department, which is relatively newly established, are responsible for different divisions in the one company, especially in the horizontal way. And that's why those divisions try to manage each individual team's challenges or the outputs. And then that's why sometimes especially the company who has those horizontal functions, then they can start some wider range or bigger size of the solution implementation. But still, if there is no such a horizontal organization is there for those companies, then still they are struggling to implement their bigger thing, which is still, their, even if it's a good innovations are in behind, but still they are struggling to implement it.
And are there sort of regulatory or compliance sort of factors that come into this as well? That may sort of hold back implementation or scaling of predictive maintenance solutions.
Well, yes, there is no, their compliance issues. I mean, their regulations or compliance are for their implementing it, but their such in case of the bottom-up situation, and then they always are struggling with the convincing the top managers, because, for example, from maintenance team's point of view, if that solution which they want to implement also affect the other division than maintenance team, for example, the production team and also the procurement team, and then this is no more only maintenance team's project, right? They need to involve the production line people and also procurement people. This sounds, too much tiresome or too much, responsibilities for maintenance team themselves. Yeah. And that's why sometimes they hesitate, go beyond of that territory of the maintenance team. And also the other point would be, yes, they're very difficult to convince in terms of the return on investment. Yeah? Because in case of the bottom up, it's very easy because, for example, if I were a maintenance team member, and then I just convince my colleague and then my manager inside of the maintenance team, that's it. And then we can go to the small solution. But in case of the bigger solution, we need the approval from the top management. And then we need to prepare a lot of stuff. I mean, we need to, justify the effect of the new system, and then we need to show the estimation as well. Yeah. And that's why it takes too much labor or too much resource or too much time that may kill my daily business. Yeah, that's why yes, this is one of their point of the hesitation as of today.
Yeah, so it's interesting there. So about talking about the resources required, and we both know and we've talked a lot. I've talked a lot on this podcast to people about needing buy-in and resources and people to give their time, because it's like maximum effort in to get maximum reward is the idea. But is what you're describing there, Taku, down to like a lack of resources within organisations, or is it more what you said about it's seen as taking the focus from the day-to-day running of the business or the factory floor, I guess, in this respect?
Okay. I would like to say badly about the Japanese manufacturing industry, but my view is, especially for the maintenance team, is that they are lacking of their strategy or vision. Yeah, because due to digitalization, then design process and also manufacturing process have been digitalized at a part of the company, but still maintenance process, they haven't been digitalized yet. That's why, as far as I know, most of the Japanese companies maintenance teams are doing the same methodology in their decades ago. And they haven't changed at all, especially in the maintenance process. Yeah, and that's why they are working every day as like a part of the planned maintenance, scheduled maintenance. And in addition to that, the firefighting. Firefighting means suddenly they get the urgent phone call from the production colleague. Hey, my machine in front of myself is stopped. Please come here and fix it immediately. Otherwise, I cannot continue the production. And in this case, maintenance team needs to go and then make a quick fix of the production line. But maybe next day, the maintenance team will receive the phone call from the other production department or production line. And then that's why I call it daily firefighting. And that's why, they are very busy with those planned maintenance and also daily firefighting. And then that's why, they may say they don't have enough resource, but honestly, it's not a matter of the resource lacking, but it's a matter of the lacking the vision. This is my opinion.
Yeah, no, and that I think that makes it. I don't think that's being too critical. And again, when you're so focused on the day to day, it's difficult, because again, if you're firefighting things, you've got other concerns to sort of think about. I guess, what I wanted to ask is basically how can a vendor like Siemens, for example, help support Japanese customers? I guess in this example, where when they want maybe have some ideas around digital transformation, but are maybe not quite sure how to get there or how to do it in the best way, from a resource and maybe an investment point of view. So how can let's say Siemens in this respect, how can they help?
Okay, the Senseye, our portfolio in the maintenance process, which means the predictive maintenance solution, is very intuitive system that we can, the approach to your customer by assuming customers' return on investment, which is very useful to convince the management level. And also, needless to say, the software itself is very intuitive, so that their AI-based analytics gives the maintenance crew what to do next. And that's why the maintenance crew can focus only on the essential work. And that's why they can eliminate unnecessary job and unnecessary tasks. And in parallel, the top management can, understand or can assume the return on investment. Yeah. And that's why in terms of those two things, which fit bottom up and also top down as well, And then that's why Senseye is very, the powerful tool, especially for Japanese market, which try to transform in the digitalization way in the maintenance process.
And you mentioned, I guess, a key word there in terms of like AI and Gen AI. Well, no, you didn't mention Gen AI, but I'm thinking Gen AI. Are those technologies, is that something that's more and more being adopted by Japanese companies, or it's something that catching the eye of Japanese companies when it comes to like, technology investments?
Absolutely, yes. Because of the Japan is the one of the most aging country, and then even now, the most of the manufacturing companies are struggling with their employment of their good qualified maintenance crews. And then, for sure, needless to say, 10 years later, 20 years later, it will get more difficult. Yeah. So in such an the future or even now, and then Gen AI function which indicate the cause of the trouble or failure, or what can the maintenance crew do as a next step and so on, then it really helps because the knowledge inside of the company cannot be stored anymore, and because of the lack of the talented people. I mean, the experienced person needs to retire one day, and then that knowledge and experiences which were stored inside of that person, they try to succeed to the younger generation, but it is not possible to do 100%. And that's why the company needs something to store the knowledge, not individually inside of their colleagues or employees, but inside of the system they need to store. In terms of this, a Senseye Gen AI function is very, very powerful tool that the company can save. They are very, are the accurate and also the correct information or methodologies, measures for the asset failures, and that's why company can keep up running their high performance for their maintenance activities.
Yeah, absolutely, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, and you mentioned there about sort of knowledge, knowledge loss and experienced workforce, retiring or soon to be retiring. Again, and that's an issue. Again, we talk about a lot on this podcast from a global perspective. But is that something else, particularly important or at the moment in the Japanese market as well, or Japanese industry?
Yes. Also, in addition to the point, yeah, I have seen several companies who record their data of their condition indicator. For example, this motor's vibration data for last 3 years data. Yeah, and also the company is recording their daily maintenance activity. For example, a maintenance crew, Mr. A, have lubricated this bearing today, 10 a.m. Yeah. But I haven't seen the company who record both of the data in the same format. Yeah. Their data recording is the different format. That's why they cannot correlate this maintenance event to this data of the condition indicator changes. But in terms of this, Sensei format can record both of the data into the one intuitive graph, so that the company can utilize the past data for future maintenance improvement. This is also one of the strongest point of the Sensei.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it sort of got me thinking. I mentioned in the intro actually about this. What we talk about often is sort of two types of readiness, really, sort of data or technology readiness and cultural readiness. But what you're talking about there, are Japanese organisations or companies, are they collecting? They're collecting data. Have they got connecting machines? Are they bringing data from the machines? Is it a case where they're at a point maybe they need, systems to actually do something and provide business insights from that data, or is that part of the equation, even collecting data, still not where it needs to be, let's say, or where it can be.
Okay. Or as I said in the beginning, the predictive maintenance or condition-based maintenance has been spread. That word itself has been spread. That's why from decades ago, the company who started such a kind of trial in the condition-based maintenance or predictive maintenance has made some connectivity established. Yeah. And then that's why to answer this question, some of the manufacturers have already, ready to, monitor the data. But even though for those companies, they are not completely ready yet. I mean, they just made some experiment in the past for example, this one production line, but nothing for other production line. Yeah. But, nothing is perfect from day one. That's why, I'm really happy that they're, even though it's not a part of their company, but actually some of the companies are ready to monitor this kind of data. But other than that, still many companies haven't tried anything about this condition-based maintenance or predictive maintenance yet. That's why for those companies, we will offer also the connectivity support.
I guess one of our questions sort of covered, our pre-prepared question, let's say, sort of went into an interesting area as well. So obviously, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the sort of Japanese market's known for like sort of robotics and sort of advanced robotics as well. And I was just wondering whether we could talk about the challenges of sort of leveraging, robots and stuff to enhance predictive maintenance capabilities. Is there anything we can add there?
Okay. Because the robot manufacturers in Japan, I mean OEM, try to offer also this kind of the condition-based maintenance services to add the value on the robot itself. Yeah. But in terms of the end customer's point of view, as I said, they have many different kinds of assets, including robot, but not only the robot, the conveyor, or also chillers, or compressor, or whatever. Yeah, and that's why, from end user's point of view, yes, they can do some condition-based maintenance or predictive maintenance for robots, but nothing for other assets. This is the challenges because the robot manufacturer's point of view, it is okay, but from end customer's point of view, it is not okay. That's why the condition-based maintenance or predictive maintenance itself hasn't been spread at this moment. This is the kind of the fundamental reason.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense as well. And so as we sort of come sort of towards the end, I guess it's a normal thing we do. We sort of look towards the future a bit and what's emerging. Do you see any emerging trends at the moment in the Japanese market, Taku, that are worth noting, in particular around predictive maintenance, but it could be broader than that in sort of digital transformation as a whole?
Well, yes, absolutely. Digital transformation is the long-running trend, even from 10 years ago, approximately. Yes, then I assume that this trend will continue for next decades as well, because digitalization is not the simple single project. Yeah. As I said, once the company implement the engineering process and also production process of the digitalization, and next step would be maintenance process. Yeah. And that's why, yes, the digitalization is still the trend as of today. And then also, how we cope with shortage of the resources. This is also, one of the because this is the biggest challenge for the Japanese manufacturers. That's why this should be also one of the key trend in the Japanese manufacturing industry as well.
And I guess one thing I didn't, just to sort of add on to that as well, are there any industries that are sort of within Japan that are sort of adopting let's say, predictive maintenance technology faster than other industries? Is there industries that are sort of ahead of the game, let's say?
Yes, typically at this point of time, the automotive industry is one of the strongest industry in the Japanese manufacturing, and that's why they're researching and also they are developing their predictive maintenance solutions. But other than that, yes, also our pharmaceutical is one of the industries that also Japan is investigating, pursuing this kind of trend. And then also there are many food and beverage companies as well. Even though it's in a very small island in Japan, but the population is, the density of the population is much larger. And that's why still this kind of food and beverage, or pharmaceutical, and automotive, these kind of industries are still major industry.
No, of course. That makes a lot of sense. And one thing we haven't talked about, just again as we come towards the end, but we've talked about cultural, the culture maybe in the Japanese market. And one thing I think we talked about in one of our conversations before we recorded this podcast was around the importance of quality control and how. But how does that sort of influence the readiness of Japanese industries to sort of adopt predictive maintenance? Because quality is something we haven't touched upon yet, has it really?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Or because looking back the history, Japanese manufacturers have gained its share mainly by their automation and also their quality. Yeah. And then maybe the traditionally Japanese people care about the quality, rather than the kind of the average of the global. For example, in case of the baby diaper, if there is a Mickey Mouse print on top, then the Japanese diaper manufacturer don't want to cut the Mickey Mouse face into a half because maybe baby will cry. Yeah, when they see the new diaper, the Mickey Mouse face is cut into the half, and it's sad. Yeah, that's why that Mickey Mouse face should come in the very center of the paper diaper. Even it's in a kind of maybe a few hours later, it's disposed. Yeah, and also in case of the let's say potato chips bags, and then Japanese people care how users can open that bag easily. Yeah, it's if it's sealed so strongly, and then it's very hard to open up. Yeah, but if the glue is too weak, and then during the logistics, maybe it's broken. Yeah, but yes, in this case, Japanese people pursue that the quality, or let's say in other words, maybe it's care. Yeah? But the Japanese people try to go beyond of their customers' expectation. Yeah. So this has been, making the Japanese manufacturing industry bigger in the past, the 40 or 50 years. But nowadays, they are continuing of this direction is not simply making the Japanese industry bigger anymore. Yeah. That's why my opinion is that the Japanese manufacturers are coming to the turning point. I'm not saying that they're throwing away this quality or care. No, we just keep on it. But in addition to those points, we have to think about the profitability or competitiveness. Because maybe, foreign countries, diaper manufacturer, also they now don't cut any character's face into the half, right?
Yeah.
And then that's why, yes, Japanese people now, yes, there needs to drastically, pursue that another point, how they can be really competitive in the next decades.
No, exactly, and predictive maintenance in a way, in a way, can contribute towards that. And I guess what you're sort of alluding to there is, for various reasons, it's a global thing, but with cost pressures and cost of you know um, resources and all sorts of energy and all sorts of things have been increasing. So it's more important now to to work out how you can work more efficiently. And like I say, predictive maintenance plays a part in that, of course.
Absolutely, yes. I believe that the very big potential the Japanese manufacturer has their cost savings, especially in the maintenance process. Because as I said repeatedly, so production design and also production planning and also production process has been digitalized. And also, even though, Japanese company, their shift, the location of their plants to the overseas, and then maybe labor could be cheaper, but, there's no so big benefit by having their factories overseas. And then that's why no matter where their plant location is, the most cost impactful thing to improve is the business process itself. Then inside of the business process of the manufacturing, and then maintenance it's like in a blue ocean. Nobody has touched among the Japanese companies. And that's why I believe that there is a big potential.
Yeah, and and what I like is we can finish on a nice positive note there. But just before we go, again, we like to sum up sort of the end of our podcast with just a few sort of takeaways. And I guess in this context, maybe Taku, you could just sort of lay out. So if a Japanese company is really interested in hopefully approaching Siemens to talk about predictive maintenance, what sort of things should they have in mind? That they need to think about in order to successfully deploy. And we can talk about Senseye in this context here as well. But what do they need to think about in order to achieve a successful deployment?
Okay, first of all, what I expect the company who try to implement Senseye or even other predictive maintenance solution is to have vision. As I said, daily duty like a planned maintenance and also firefighting makes the very tiresome for the front line of the maintenance crews. But if the company keeps on this, the process, the business process, then for sure, next decades, no younger people wants to work in such a team, right? And that's why, first of all, I want your customer to have the vision. So to help to achieve the vision, then Senseye is really powerful too, because it's a cutting edge technologies implemented, and also return on investment is much paid, and etc. Yes, that's why first of all without having our customers' vision, and then we cannot achieve their goal of their customers' wish.
Excellent advice. Yeah, really great advice. And so and of course, so as we finish, you'll see in the show notes we've got our link to our website and things. And Taku, I guess, particularly for Japanese customers, particularly, they can reach out to you maybe via LinkedIn or something like that, or they can come through the Siemens website. Of course, they'll make their way to our colleagues, of course, in Japan too.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I'm looking forward to helping not only the Japanese customers, but also Asia Pacific and also Middle Eastern customers as well.
Of course. Yeah, no, important to point out, actually. Very good point.
Yes.
But no, for today, Taku, thank you once again for joining and sharing your sort of thoughts and experience of the Japanese market. I'm sure everyone found it really useful because we can learn a lot. Different countries can learn a lot from other countries as well. So we're going to continue this series and dive into other regions too. But for now, thank you, Taku, for your time. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Please like and subscribe on all major podcast channels and find out more about Senseye Predictive Maintenance at Siemens.com.